That is why they want to eliminate Traore and many others. That is why they are sponsoring insurgency in Burkina, in Mali, in Chad, in Guinea, in northern Nigeria. They are alive and well.
Ibrahim Traoré made a bold declaration. We won't export minerals to Western countries anymore. Some critics asked, why would he give up money? Export means import. Money comes in. But Traoré answered even stronger. Africa doesn't need the World Bank, IMF, Europe, or America. We have what it takes to grow our economy without loans and refuse to be financial slaves. Why did he make this decision? And why now? Let's find out. Now look at this. All the vehicles and goods you see here were bought with Burkinabe's money, and those vehicles have already provided jobs for some people in Burkina Faso, whereas reducing the rate of unemployment. Ibrahim Traoré didn't want to use foreign companies to build roads, so he bought all the stuff and taught the people of Burkina Faso how to use it, letting them build their own country. Thousands of young men and women work on the streets each day. They lay blocks, fix roads, donate cement, all for free. Under the hot sun, with raw determination, they rebuild their nation. They used to wait for foreign aid. Now they carry bricks. This is a complete revolution in how Africa does business. For decades, we've watched African countries dig up their treasures and ship them away for pennies. But Ibrahim Traoré said, enough is enough. He's making history right before our eyes. The government now demands a 15% stake from foreign mining firms and forces them to transfer skills to local workers. This isn't just about money, it's about knowledge, expertise, and building a future where Africans control their own resources. Here's what's really happening. Ibrahim Traoré is taking over mines and stopping small, unsafe mining. He has created the first gold reserve in Burkina Faso's history, and he's not finished. He's building a refinery that will process 150 tons of gold per year. This is massive. Traoré turned to Russia only because Western markets deliberately crashed their gold stocks when this revolution started. They wanted to punish him for standing up, but it backfired. So what minerals were they sending out before, and for what? And what happens now that they've stopped? Burkina Faso has been sitting on a gold mine, literally. Over 70% of the country's export money comes from gold. For years, they sent raw gold or half-processed gold to Western countries like Switzerland, France, Canada, and the U.S. These countries would then turn it into jewelry, electronics, and investment metal, making huge profits while Burkina Faso got crumbs. They also have zinc, which is used to protect steel and make batteries. Manganese goes into steel production and batteries too. Phosphates are crucial for making fertilizers that feed crops all over the world. But here's the kicker. All of this was leaving Africa while Africans stayed poor. Gold was the big prize. Burkina Faso was the fourth largest gold producer in Africa. Think about that for a moment. Fourth largest producer. But the people were still struggling. Why? Because Traoré was right. They were economic slaves, digging wealth for others to enjoy. But Traoré changed everything. Mines like Bungu and Wanion that were run by foreign companies, he took them over. The government now controls the digging and built a gold refinery that processes hundreds of kilos every single day. That refinery will handle 150 tons per year. This is Africa taking control of its own destiny. This ended the old cycle of economic slavery. Dig, ship, pay overseas. Now, the refinery keeps jobs, skills, and money inside Burkina Faso where it belongs. And Burkina Faso isn't alone. This is happening everywhere. China stopped selling important minerals like rare earths, germanium, antimony, and graphite to other countries. Russia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Zambia, and across the Sahel region, Burkina, Mali, Niger, they're all keeping their resources home. This is causing panic in Western capitals because their electric car and tech supply chains are crumbling. But why did Traoré do this? And why now? The reasons will shock you. First, Burkina Faso was drowning in debt. They owed $4.7 billion to foreign creditors who were bleeding them dry. But here's the genius move. Traoré cleared all that debt by stopping gold exports and paying cash. He closed accounts with the IMF and World Bank, those institutions that have kept Africa poor for decades. He cut pay for corrupt politicians while raising wages for doctors and teachers who actually serve the people. Second, this is about dignity and pride. Traoré is bringing back the spirit of Thomas Sankara, the revolutionary leader who fought against colonialism. He kicked out French troops who had been occupying his country. He rejected colonial languages in court and wears traditional African dress. He cut Western aid because he knows it comes with strings attached. For him, controlling resources is the foundation of true independence. Third, COVID and jihadist violence showed how dangerous it is to depend on others. After years of militant attacks and global pandemics, depending on foreign aid became a death trap. With 40% of the country under militant control and thousands of people displaced, they needed tools and money that stayed inside their borders. Fourth, the global power balance is shifting. China and Russia are offering real partnerships while Western markets are trying to control and manipulate. Traoré saw his chance. If gold demand rises because of inflation or new technology, Burkina Faso can ride that wave instead of watching others profit from their resources. The West tried to punish him by crashing the value of Burkina Faso's gold companies. But this backfired spectacularly. Instead of breaking him, it pushed him toward Russia and China, who were happy to buy his gold at fair prices. The West played themselves. But let's be honest about the challenges. Critics point out that Traoré rules with military power. There are no elections, press freedom is limited, and human rights groups have concerns. Some accuse Russian Wagner forces of committing massacres. He extended military rule by 5 years, and there's ongoing violence against Fulani people. These are serious issues that can't be ignored. But here's what's also true. Traoré remains incredibly popular. Why? Because people can see the results. There's also been a massive change in regional politics that will reshape Africa forever. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger all left ECOWAS in 2025. They called the organization hypocritical, quick to impose sanctions but slow to offer real help. Instead, they formed the Alliance of Sahel States. This new alliance is serious business. They have a joint 5,000-strong military force, a common passport, plans for a shared investment bank, and they're discussing a common currency to replace the French-controlled CFA franc. This is the beginning of true African unity. ECOWAS is now weakened, losing 17% of its population and resources. Other countries like Togo are watching closely and considering joining the Sahel bloc. The old colonial structures are crumbling in real time. But there are real risks ahead. Security remains a massive challenge. Jihadist groups killed over 7,000 people last year, and government forces have also been accused of abuses. The authoritarian drift is concerning with limited elections, press suppression, and growing Russian influence. The economy could be unstable because gold prices can crash overnight, and ECOWAS sanctions might hurt trade. Regional instability could draw more foreign powers into the conflict. Yet despite all these challenges, Traore's popularity continues to grow. Young people in cities celebrate new factories opening. Farmers in rural areas praise the financial support they're getting. When Traore appeared at Ghana's presidential inauguration, he received the loudest applause of any leader present. This shows his support extends far beyond Burkina Faso. So, what does this mean for the rest of Africa? If Burkina's model works, if their factories grow, roads connect, and gold stays home, other nations will definitely follow. They'll stop selling resources cheaply to the West. The Sahel bloc could evolve into a powerful resource and security union that reshapes the entire continent's economy. Western powers now face a crucial choice: buy African resources at fair prices or risk losing all influence on the continent. As one expert put it perfectly, Western devaluation of African resources pushed leaders toward Russia and China, but buying those resources at fair prices could bring them back. But here's the real question. Do Western powers even want fair trade with Africa? For centuries, they've profited from keeping Africa poor and dependent, cheap resources flowing out, expensive manufactured goods flowing in. This system has made them rich while keeping Africans poor. Traore is threatening this entire system. He's proving that Africa doesn't need Western charity or loans. Africa needs fair prices for its resources and the right to process those resources at home. This is revolutionary thinking that terrifies Western capitals. The timing couldn't be more perfect. Old systems are crumbling everywhere. The dollar's dominance is being challenged. China and Russia are offering alternatives to Western institutions. Climate change is forcing everyone to rethink energy and resources. This is Africa's moment. Ibrahim Traoré asked, "Why now?" The answer is simple. Because the time is right. When old systems crumble, new ones rise. He turned tractors into symbols of freedom, gold mines into engines of hope, and national pride into international headlines. What happens next depends on whether Burkina can balance freedom with order, sustain its industries, defend its borders, and stay independent not just in words, but in reality. The challenges are enormous, but so is the potential. This is Africa's turning point. The continent is finally saying no to economic colonialism. From gold to roads, from tractors to treaties, from empty aid to real power, Africa is taking control of its own destiny. The question isn't whether this will spread to other African countries. The question is how fast it will spread and whether the West will adapt or try to crush it. Either way, change is coming and there's no going back. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for next video.